No.
No?
Where's the height go between? From one base to the other base, doesn't it?
So 18 would be
18.
It's 18.
Yeah. You guys see that? Just because I turn this does not suddenly mean the height is all, no. It's got to be between the two bases.
Okay.
Do you guys see that? I mean, the area of a trapezoid is one thing, and we talked about where it came from, and you guys can write that formula down. You don't have to memorize it. But you can see it's not that hard to memorize here. It looks like a triangle with the head chopped off. So it's got two bases, so they both have to show up, right? So it's kind of easy to come up with a way to remember it. But it's more than that. You have to identify the shape. I don't care which way they turn the damn thing, right? Just because I turn it doesn't sound, oh, it's changing. No, I'm just turning it. But once you identify what it is, you got to be careful about what the parts are. This is nothing. That would be like, on this one, that would be like saying this is the height. Doesn't make any sense, right? So I can't say 10's the height because how tall is it here? Taller. How tall is it over there? Shorter. No. I want the height to be the same. I want it to be consistent. And 18 is all the way through, isn't it? Okay. So here I've got the height is 18. I've got base 1 is 9. Base 2 is 11. So then I get the area of the whole thing. And then what do you want to subtract out? And what do you know about the triangle? So this is what you know about the trapezoid. And the triangle, the base is 18, and the height is 10 for the triangle, right? Because of the way it's drawn. And of course you know the area formula for that, right? So I'm going to let you guys, that was not too bad now. Get the area of that, get the area of that, cut the triangle out, subtract it out. Okay. But I do agree that one's a little bit more difficult because when you first look at it, it doesn't look like what you expect the trapezoid to look at because they've turned it over. So don't let them fool you like that. Say, okay, you turn the damn thing over, who cares? Right? I can turn my book around. I don't think any of the other ones are like that. I think that's the only one that they've made the shape harder to tell. The rest of these shapes, you can tell what they are.
So the area of the triangle is 1/2 base times height?
See again?
The area of the triangle is 1/2?
Triangle, yeah. 1/2 the base times the height. What's always true about the height is perpendicular to the base. That helps you out here too. The height's got to be perpendicular to the base. In this case, both bases, right? That's why this is not the height. Is it perpendicular up here? Is it perpendicular to this? Definitely not. This is not the same as that. It's perpendicular here. Right? Okay.
So then that would be 45?
It comes up to 0.
Comes up to 90.
Right.
You might have forgotten the 1/2 there. Yeah, you probably forgot the 1/2 there.
No, I didn't.
No.
So area is
90.
1/2, 18 times 10, right?
I got 92.
90.
Okay.
Area here is 1/2
That one.
the height times the sum of the bases. This is 180. And then you subtract. What are the units on both of those?
Yards.
Yards,
Square.
square yards.
So,
But
why wouldn't it be,
don't you have to take 1/2 of 180? Oh, wait.
No, you already took the 1/2 of the
1/2
20.
of 18 is 9 times 20 is 180.
why wouldn't you just, like, on that one, where you 1/2 the base, so 19.
Where's 19?
Or 18, sorry.
Okay.
So 18 would be 9,
Sure.
multiplied by half the height, which is 10, so that would be 45.
Wait a minute. Where are we at? What's up? What happened? The height is
I took,
18.
so I took half off the top, right off the top, so what I did was, 1/2, 9 times 5 for 45.
So, here. Area is 1/2. What's the height again?
The height is
18 of the trapezoid, sorry.
Sorry.
18.
And what are the bases? 9 for one of them and 11 for the other one.
Correct.
All right, now do that. You'll get 180. It's not that difficult. Once you identify the shape, it's just identifying the pieces to plug into the formula, right? That one I think is the hardest one on there because, like I said, they turn it around so it's easy to get mixed up. Cool. And don't forget your units, right? So on the test, thank God I won't be drawing these shapes out because you can tell that my drawing skills leave something to be desired. So what I'll do is I actually can just pull them off of online stuff that I got. So you can get some nice shapes to see. You can actually see what's going on. Okay, so don't be too freaked out about that. I won't be drawing the shapes. What's that?
A compass and a protractor.
Oh, no. We're not getting that deep into the geometry.
No, for you to draw it out.
Oh, for me to draw it? No, no, no.
On a different part of the homework, 33 and 36,
Mhm.
how do you do that?
What do they tell you in the italics there?
It's like 1 square yard equals 9 feet squared, use the information to convert.
Yeah, so you know that
The biggest
one
one is to convert it.
square yard equals 9 square feet, right? And this is number like 33 and so forth. In, 9.3? So, like here, look at 34, they say 15 square feet, 15.2 equals how many square yards? So really, the only question here is, do I divide or do I multiply by 9, right? Let me ask you this. If there were 18 square feet, how many square yards would that be? Do you see how your brain jumps on the numbers when they work well together? Here, you're just kind of guessing. But what did you do when you had 18 square feet? What did you do to get 2?
Times the 9 and 2.
No, you didn't. What did you do with 18? You divided it by 9, right? So what do you do here with the 15.2? Divide it by 9. So here's a really cool thing. When you're going from a smaller, let me see if you guys get this. Because chapter 8 will focus on really more difficult conversions. But here's one little thing that's easy. When you go from a small unit to a big one, you divide. Right? So like if I had 36 inches, and I want to know how many feet that is. How do I get that? How many inches in a foot? 12.
36 is what?
36 divided by 12, right? 12 inches is 1 foot, 36 inches would be 3 feet. So when I go from small units, inches, to big units, feet, I divide. So what are we doing here? We're going from square feet to square yards, small to big. Divide. 15.2 divided by 9. Whatever the hell that is. Right? When I go from a big unit to a small unit, what do you think I do? Multiply. And that, of course, is like, if I have 5 yards, how many feet is that? How many feet in a yard? 3. Right, so 5 yards, how many feet? From big to small, multiply is 15 feet. Right, 5 times 3. So that's a cool little,
Where'd you get the 9 from on the 15?
they told me that.
Oh, that, okay.
They already told
Thank God they told me that. And why does that make sense? Because what did we just say? How many feet in a yard?
3.
So how many square feet in a square yard? 3 squared. 9. Right? That's where that 9 comes from.
I'm sorry, was explain that, please?
So how many feet in a yard?
3.
3. So how many square feet in a square yard?
9.
Square, 3 squared. Yeah, 9. That's where that comes from.
Okay, so 15.2 divided by 9 would be the answer.
Yes. That's the short take. Yeah.
And then when it wants square feet, do we multiply by 9?
Yeah. So again, if they give me a problem where I start off in square yards, so if I had 7 square yards equals how many square feet? This one's a little more direct, isn't it? 1 square yard is 9, so 7 square yards would be 63. That makes sense. You multiply, right? Of course you multiply. But again, look at it. Big to small. Yards to feet. Multiply. Small to big. Divide. It's a really cool, quick thing for conversions, right? Because that's what a lot of conversions come down to. Do I multiply or divide by this number? That's one way to kind of think about it right there.
So that answer would be 1.69 or?
Whatever that is, sure.
That's
Yeah.
square feet though, it's not.
Square yards. Right? Because we're going from square feet to square yards. Okay.
So from smaller to bigger. Divide, okay.
Good. Okay. All right. Is that all right? Okay. Now, some of you guys I know have this aversion to geometry, and I know this is true, but we're not doing most of the things that turn people off about geometry, right? And when I first took geometry, they turned me off too, at first. Because it was new, it was different. It was like these proofs. You remember that? You guys have to do those? Side angle side proofs? Remember those? We're not doing that. So I think part of your brains are just turning off like geometry. Or out of geometry, okay, I'm back. It's not that bad, really. Really, it's not that bad. So any other questions left over from 9.3 before we get into 9.4?
Can you explain how to do 53?
No, that one for no. Let me see. 15.3. Somebody was asking me about that earlier. How did you try to set up the picture from what they told you?
I know that it makes a shape, but I can't figure out what it was.
All right, so let's do. Here's the green monster, right? So we're looking at it like this, right? And what do they tell me? They tell me
310.
the distance from home plate down to third baseline to the bottom one. So here's home plate, right? And this distance down the third baseline. So let me just look straight down this baseline. So here's like the pitcher's mound is right here and all that. I don't care about all this other stuff, right? Here's first base, second base. Here's third base, somewhere like right here, right? Is that cool? So even if you don't know, well, if you don't know baseball, this might be a little bit evil of a problem, but from home base straight to the green monster. Which what was it? 310?
Yeah.
And then they tell me it's how tall?
37.
37 feet. And then they want to know how far is it from home plate to the top? Now, where would you draw that? From home plate to the top of the green monster. Where would that go?
Right there.
So what shape have we made?
Triangle.
Specifically, what kind of triangle?
Right angle.
How do you know it's a right triangle?
Perpendicular.
Notice how they're very careful. They say the green monster, hopefully they put it up straight. It should be then perpendicular to the ground, right? So we've made a triangle. So what can I use then to figure out that last side? Pythagorean theorem. Cool. But I agree with you. That one's maybe more difficult if you don't know too much about baseball. But that's what they're trying to say. Straight out is this much. Go up, it's that much. And how much is it straight from me to the top? Well, that's going to make a triangle no matter what game you're playing, right? Yeah.
So which one is going to be a squared? C squared is going to be the unknown.
A and B don't
It
matter.
doesn't matter.
Are you guys with me on that?
Yeah.
What's the only one that matters?
The
The C. It's got to be the biggest one, the hypotenuse, right? I can go that A or that A because you're adding them. Who cares which ones? I can add whatever it
Plus
was.
B squared equals C squared.
Exactly. So the sum of the squares of the sides equals the square of the hypotenuse.
It's a really big number. It's a really big number.
Oh, hell yeah. But then what do you got to do before you give me the answer, though?
Square root.
Square root it. So 37 squared plus 310 squared equals C squared.
What I'm telling you, it's a really big number.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
I would think it'd be
9
not much above.
500.
Yeah.
205, 961.
Sure.
It's really long.
But then square root that. You haven't square rooted it yet.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
I got like.
Because think about it. What makes sense? Guys, it should be close to 310. It should be just a little bit bigger than 310.
It's 312, 312.
Yeah, so that makes sense, doesn't it? I wouldn't expect it to be thousands big. It should be just a little bit bigger than 310. Because this isn't that much compared to this distance, right? Okay.
Oh.
Yeah, the picture they try, but they should have done it from the side. I don't know. All right, so now we're going to get into section 9.4,
Oh no.
which promises even more excitement because it's talking about
Yes,
the third dimension.
All right.
What's next to my plan?
37 squared is 769. 310 squared is 96,100.
All right, so
Square root that.
He says what he's.
there's, I'm gonna teach